केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ नमः प्रणवार्ताय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां व्यासशङ्करमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे
वन्दे
गुरुपरम्पराम्.
गुरुपरम्पराम्।
On the 2nd of August, which is a Sunday, we are doing a Rudra Japam here in the ashram, in Ashram We will start at 10 o'clock. The whole japa will start at 10 o'clock. We'll finish with Mahaprasadam, which is lunch, at 12. So those of you who can, do join in for the Rudra Abhishek, Rudra Japam. We saw yesterday that the chanting of Rudram is very powerful. The way Rudram has been made, the way Sanskrit is a very precise language. What is called chandas, the meter in which it is all written, there are very strict rules for chandas also. Each mantra follows a certain chandas. Like, easiest to remember is, if you look at Bhagavad Gita, we have two forms of common chandas in Bhagavad Gita, called Anushtup, which is like the first verse itself. Dharma kshetre guru kshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandava shaiva kimakurvata sanjaya. That's Anushtup. And we have another one called Trushtup, which also you see now and then. You see a lot of it in chapter 11 in Vishwadarshana, but also in other places. Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grannati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani sanyati navani dehi. That's a Trushtup. Like that, each of these mantra has a certain, and as we saw yesterday, every mantra has a swara, which is important because the whole thing is giving us vibration. Just listening to it, the ears give you vibrations. And these are so beautifully designed that there are experiments conducted which show, I mentioned yesterday that actually does something to you. What it does is been experimentally studied. Human beings are normally, we have different wave states in the brain. And normally we are in what is called the beta state, a certain frequency range, which is active, doing things, doing the other. Throughout the day, we are in that state. And just listening to the chant, not even chanting ourselves, forget about knowing the meaning. Just listening to the chanting of the Rudram has been shown that the state changes from beta to alpha. Alpha is a lower level of it. So you become calmer, you become more sensitive, and further hearing of the Rudra Japa takes one to what is called the theta state. which is even lower. It has been shown experimentally with control groups and so there is definitely an effect on this, on the human brain. Yesterday there was a question right towards the end about whether we should be following the Krishna Yajurveda recension or the Shukla Yajurveda recension. The text itself, there is very little difference. As far as I know, the hardly one or two small minor differences are there. So the impact on this, the meaning of the Rudram, there's no difference between the two recensions. What I understand is the differences come from, as you will see in this now, this is Krishna Yajurveda. Each mantra is attributed to one rishi who is composed it in a certain chandas, certain meter. And he didn't compose the mantra, but he composes a dhyana shlokam for the mantra. And this, I'm told, is different in the two recensions. There are different rishis attributed who are supposed to have done this, whereas here there are different rishis. So that's about the difference that as far as I can make out between the two recensions. So if, in terms of the actual meaning of the mantra itself, the pronunciation of the mantra, I don't think there's much difference. Because both will affect the human brain positively in exactly the same way. And our attempt is to get into that state of calmer and calmer state, highly receptive state. In other Upanishads, it's called Sukshma Buddhi. It's a state where the finest, the narrowest meanings can be understood against all odds, because we have already formed a lot of conclusions. So what the Rudra Japa does, just hearing, forget about chanting yourself, what it does is to get one ready to a calmer and calmer state of mind. We will now start the, I think yesterday we stopped at the prayer verse. We will start with the prayer verse today and then continue the reading. Who will start the reading today? Divyansh, yes, you had something to say.
Yes, Swamiji. In the last class, the text mentioned that each mantra has the rishi assigned, right? The drishta. So, can you explain what is we say that they were able to in deep meditation they were able to grasp these mantras, but how is it exactly how it works?
I think it's the easiest way to understand it again with an upama. Now you don't have radio stations, but we had, when we were children, we had a radio and you could tune into different stations. We were the Bharati, Radio Ceylon, BBC or whatever else. How did you do that? You tuned the radio to that frequency and you were able to receive the signal. What these rishis did was really trained to take charge of their brain. I told you, this is one good example. When you chant some of these mantras, including the Bhagavad Gita, for example, it does something to the way your brain operates, the state in which it operates. And your attempt is to bring it to the state where it is in tune with Ishvara and with Vedanta. All Veda, including Vedanta, is called Apaurusheya. There's no authorship for any of those. Nobody claimed authorship for those. But some rishis, through their individual efforts, which means lot of meditative karma, lot of japa, lot of tapas. They brought their system to a level where they were able to see it while others were not able to see it. So what is said is that in these mantras in Rudra, like that, some of the rishis were able to see some of the mantras, grasp it, and explain it to their shishyas. That's why they're called rishis. The word rishi itself comes from rishyate, pashyati, sees. He's a seer. He's a seer who sees what others don't see. Therefore, it's called a rishi. So some rishis were so finely tuned that they were able to grasp some of this. Some rishis were finely tuned to Vedanta, that knowledge. And that knowledge, once they grasped, they were then able to pass it on to their shishya who heard it. That's why it's called Shruti. This is all part of the Veda only. These are extremely well written. Like the suktas you have, no? Mukta, beautifully said, arranged, said. Why beautifully? Because they have this impact. Just the hearing has an impact. Today's science is trying to dig into it and find out. And they've already, like I said, found out what happened to the state of the brain, which state they are in. Beta waves, alpha waves, theta waves, zeta waves. Science was saying it today. Veda has already said that. Veda has said that you get your mind ready in the sukshma buddhi state. In that state, you are able to receive that knowledge, assimilate that knowledge. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Shruti says there is no difference between you and Ishvara. You are Ishvara. I can't, for the life of me, figure that out unless I come to the state, both in terms of preparation and in terms of getting ready my mind, that I can get that knowledge and say, yeah, that makes sense. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. You say, what are you talking about? I'm suffering all kinds of things. People insult me and I get insulted. I'm subject to backache. I'm subject to tiredness. I don't have any knowledge about half the subjects in the world. How can you say I'm like Ishvara? You're not like Ishvara, you are Ishvara. How do you understand something like that? For that, this whole process of what we discussed is adhikaritvam, preparation and getting the mind ready. So the rishis were able to do that, and they were able, therefore, to receive that knowledge. And then they went and told their shishyas. And then parampara continued. That's why we say Sadashiva Samarambham Vyasa Shankara Madhyamam As Madacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam, all the way up to the Prathama Guru. My salutations to all the Gurus, starting from Lord Shiva in the form of Dakshinamurti as the Prathama Guru, who gave it to his Shishyas, who gave it to his Shishya and so forth, till it came to Vyasa, which you can recognize. Vyasa gave then through again a series of Guru Shishya, came to Shankaracharya, who in turn again with a lot of process of Guru Shishya, came to my Guru, Madacharya Paryantam. For me, he is the last Guru. For every one of us, your Guru is the last Guru. But you are not giving your salutations to the Guru, to that. There is no individual. For me, till I understand, there is an individual, there is a Guru. I am a Shishya of that particular Guru, in that form, with that name. But that Guru is Ishvara. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara. Gurureva Param Brahma. When you recognize, then there is no Guru, no Shishya. You are Ishvara. But it requires the help of a Guru to get there.
So,
okay, who will do the reading? Yeah, sorry, somebody.
So can we say like they had some kind of intuitive power, like some sort of?
You be careful in the use of the word. You saying intuitive power, what do you mean? I said they like tuning a radio, they tuned their brain activity to a level where it was able to receive this knowledge. We are also trying to do that. All this classes we are doing is partly meant to sharpen our brain, to make it more and more sukshma, so that one day this knowledge becomes possible.
Swamiji?
Yeah, but we won't become the rishi, right? We will
I'm sorry?
we won't become the rishi. We will not be able to. Like,
You will be Ishvara. Fact is, you will not be Ishvara. You are Ishvara. You will recognize that.
right, but
You're looking at yourself as Divyansh. A day will come when you recognize that Divyansh is a non-self-existing entity.
correct.
So when you recognize that, today it is maybe difficult to separate the two. Today it may be difficult to conceive of the two separately. But what you are trying to do is to get that state. And because you have Shraddha in the Shastra, and Shastra says it is like that, be committed, continue, sooner or later you will get that. That is why in Kathopanishad also we saw Astityeva upalabdhavyaha. Then you get Tattva Bhava. So one has to keep at it till that knowledge becomes one's own.
No. So by the mantra dishta, I meant that the whole of the Vedas, like it's not just the Jnana Kanda, I'm talking about the Karma Kanda as well. Those are also mantras, right?
Yeah, they're also
So
mantras.
if I get that how Tattvamasi is exactly like how I am that Brahman, that is a different thing. But like if I start, like let's say if a Jnani is there, right? And he sees that, okay, everything is Brahman, non-separate from Brahman, that is fine. But if he sits in meditation, he won't be like able to grasp the, let's say, mantra for Karma Kanda. That is a separate process, right?
Mantra and Karma Kanda also, for example, Mantra and Karma Kanda tells you two parts. One is it says, you live your life like this. You live within Dharma. You do these things, don't do these things, which you find in every religion. Correct? Then there's another portion where it says, whatever you want, for which I will give you the process. That process is already there. You want wealth, there's a process available. You want progeny, there's a process available. Whatever you want, there is a process available. There are mantras available. There's a certain way of life available, written down in the Shastra, in the Karma Kanda. Now the question you're asking is, will I understand the Karma Kanda? My answer to you is, why do you want to understand the Karma Kanda? Only to the extent of saying, okay, if I do this, I will get the result. You can understand that. If I do this, I will go to Svargaloka. My question to you is, why do you want to go to Svargaloka? But even there, when I see Karma Kanda and say, I don't need anything else. It's very clear. Karma Kanda is very clear. If you do this, you go to Svargaloka. If you have Shraddha, you accept it. If you don't have Shraddha, you don't accept it. Nothing to see. Because you are trying to say that Svargaloka is also temporary, because that's what the Shastra says. The same Shastra which tells you that if you do this, if you live life like this, you will go to Svargaloka after death, after Sharira. But then it also says you'll come back. So if that is going to be the thing, that is when you recognize that that is not what you're looking for, that is when you start seriously looking at that portion which tells you more.
Sorry, but I think that was not my question exactly. But okay, maybe like we can skip it.
Rephrase the question.
Right.
Will I
Okay.
see Karma Kanda? Yes, you will say Karma. Anybody can say Karma Kanda. You don't
No.
need any, you only need Shraddha.
Okay. Let me try to rephrase. If anybody else understands, please let me rephrase as well.
I would like to ask one question to Divyansh. Divyansh, wheel has been invented. Do you want to invent a wheel again?
No, my question is not
You
that.
are going to apply the wheel. So you have already understood that Vedas are already there. Why you want to again listen what rishis have listened?
No. Okay.
You would like to apply what wheel has been invented. You would like to apply it to your current and develop an automobile or something like that. So now you try to apply these Vedas, which have already been heard by the rishis and told and spread across to Guru Parampara. Now apply it to a better, like make an automobile, make a rocket, something like that. So what do you want to again think about? Will I become a rishi and will I be able to hear the mantras?
Yeah. That's
Why?
No, that's my point. I'm not saying that like why I will be doing that or why I should not be doing that. I'm not getting into that. I am saying that Swamiji said that okay, we are also trying to go through that process of making our buddhi so sukshma that we are able to get the
Understand your Atma, that you are Paramatma,
yes.
that's all.
Yeah.
Not you will become a rishi. No, you will become Paramatma itself. Why you want to become a rishi? You will become the Paramatma himself. Yeah, you have become Paramatma itself. So why you want to become a rishi? Go down one level.
I am Paramatma. I realize that.
And you are the one who told all the Vedas, everything, all that has been told and heard by rishis. You are telling now, once you become Paramatma.
Yes.
But if you recognize your Paramatma.
I will become Sarvagnya. I will not become Sarvavit, right? So, if say so when we say I am Paramatma, in terms of Tattva, I am able to say that I am Paramatma. I am not saying that I have all the knowledge of the Jagat. So, when rishis were, okay, so when the Vedas were not codified, right? So, they were not in the...
There are only 7 rishis which Shastra has recognized, and those are only recognized 7 rishis, and none else is recognized as a rishi. Khatam. There are only 7 rishis. You cannot become a rishi. You will not be classified as a rishi. There are only 7 rishis. Sapta rishis only are available in this world.
Yeah, that was my point.
So you will not become rishi. What do you want to become? You want to become Paramatma.
Correct.
Who will tell further future में कोई ऋषि आएगा तो तू उसको सुनाई देगा once you become Paramatma.
Atre had a point.
Ratnamji, if I may interrupt. So I don't think Divyansh was clearly saying that he wants to be a rishi or he was fascinated with the idea of being a rishi. He was just saying, like Swamiji was explaining, that as one is more sukshma, one's buddhi is more sukshma, a rishi with that buddhi is able to manifest Ishvara's words or Ishvara is able to manifest in that buddhi in the form of mantra. So, yes, Sukshma Buddhi is what Swamiji has mentioned. What Divyansh was trying to ask is like not to become that. So, even though something like when we trying to fine tune our Buddhi and build that Adhikaritvam, it is not the same as we getting the qualities of a Rishi. Because
what was Atre? What was Divyan's question?
Divyan's question was not to be a Rishi. So
what was his question? I was saying that. What was his question?
Okay. I see more hands up here. Anand, Kavya, let them also share their thinking.
Swamiji, just one point. So a more contemporary example of this mantra dishta or similar to a rishi is like the more evident example that we can see is the mathematician Sri Ramanujam. So he says his mathematical ideas or theorems that he formulated was in the form of goddess Namagiri Tayar manifesting in his dream and giving him that. So he had such a subtle mind, or a mind that is so sharp, which was tuned to that frequency, that when he was able to do that, he attributed whatever he got to the Ishvara in the form of Namagiri Tayar. So it's possible for some minds that this can happen, but it need not be a rishi or whoever it may be. If the mind is sharp enough, this is very much possible. But again, as Swami, you said, the idea here is that our goal here is to understand that, okay, I am not different from anything. Therefore, it doesn't matter if I become a rishi, or it doesn't matter how a rishi got it. But as even Ratnamji was saying, something is available to us. We try to, our pursuit is towards understanding that, so that nothing is separate from me, right? So we have a more evident example also to understand how it worked, but at the same time, we it's very hard to chase the truth of understanding how a rishi got it, or how does it work in scientifical way. But if we keep our pursuits clear, then that becomes kind of a motivation for us to work towards having sharper mind.
Kavya had some point to make. Kavya?
Swamiji, can you hear me? My
Yes,
internet.
yes.
So, just adding to that discussion, that because now we are studying Vedanta, and Vedanta ultimately gives you the goal that you are Brahman. That's why we are not thinking of becoming a rishi. Like the knowledge has already been realized, so might as well just use it, kind of a situation. Because there are in India, there are other um, what modalities like tantra and yoga and all these, where they actually just, the goal is to become a rishi. And if you and in that modality, it's not wrong, like they do all these sadhanas to gain the siddhi, to either, like, teleport themselves, or have those transmissions and have that state of mind. But Vedanta does not specifically talk about having those state of mind. It simply goes beyond that and tells you that, hey, that is not required. So I think it's just that in certain modalities, even becoming rishi is a goal, and in certain modalities, it's just the knowledge is there, and you don't have to get stuck into all that sadhana and siddhi and all of that.
Anybody else? Please, everybody participate. These discussions are solid grounds for our further reading. It reminds me of all of you, any of you who is a student of science or engineering will have heard of something called Fermat's last conjecture. Have you heard of that? There was a scientist called Fermat, and in his margin, in his notes, just before he died, he wrote, if I remember right, he wrote something like x raised to the power n, sorry, plus y raised to the power n equal to z raised to the power n for any n greater than 2. That means x squared plus y squared equal to z squared. For 2, it is okay. But I can prove it for any number greater than 2. For example, 3 squared is what? 9. 4 squared is 16. You add the 2, you get what? 25. 25 is 5 squared. So x to the power of n plus y to the power of n plus is equal to z to the power n is what his conjecture was. How did he get it? His mind was tuned, because after him, for almost 100 years, all the big scientists, big mathematicians tried to prove this. They could prove it empirically. As computers became better and better and better, they were able to prove empirically by taking very large n. X raised to the power of 100,000, y raised to the power of 100,000. They were able to prove it. But mathematical proof they could not give. I think it's finally solved by somebody. There is a proof now available. But the fact is that Fermat, his brain was so sharply tuned for that in the field of mathematics that he was able to make this conjecture in his marginal notes. So rishis were like that. They fine-tune their brain. And Shastra tells you how to fine-tune your brain. Shastra is not shy of telling you how to do that. All your adhikaritvam is meant for that. Karma yoga is meant for that. We read recently we read Sarvan Kaman Tyaktva. Anything that distracts you from your mind, leave that out. Focus, 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 focus. Chitta Naishchalyam. Bring it to such sharp level, then you're able to see that. And Divyansh, you can certainly bring your mind to that level. Anybody can bring the mind to that level. It is definitely possible. You want to be like a rishi and be able to see? Oh, sure, you can. Or you want to be like Verma and see something in mathematics? You can. Okay. Shall we continue the reading today unless there are some other comments or issues anybody wants to raise? Who will read? Ravi Shankar, please.
Yeah.
Ravi Shankar wants to read. Okay. We are, I think, starting with the mantra, the Dhyana mantra, Vedic mantra.
Vedic mantra invoking the grace of the Lord Ganapati is first chanted before the chanting of Rudram. Gananam tva Ganapati gum havamahe.
Again, remember this. Please see these notations. Gananam. There are double lines there, no?
Yeah.
So you say Gananam, Ganaptva, Ganapati gum.
Gananam tva Ganapati gum havamahe.
Ganapati gum, pa goes up. Ganapati gum.
Ganapati gum havamahe. Kavim kavina mupamashravastamam. Jeshtarajam
Brahmanaspata
Sadanam. So I'm encouraging you to read this by knowing these double lines indicate elongated vowel.
Yeah.
Gananam. Then Ganapati gum, pa goes up. The single line there.
Yeah.
Avamahe, no change. Kaving, ka now comes down. The line below, underline below, comes down.
Yeah.
Kaving, kavinam. Ka goes up, V comes down. Kaving, kavinam.
Upamashravastamam.
I'm going to ask Abdayam to read it correctly once for everybody's sake.
Yeah, please.
Please read.
Ganana antva Ganapati gum havamahe kavim kavinamupamasravastamam Jeshtarajam brahmanam brahmanaspata anashrinvannutibhis sidasadanam.
See Divyansh's hand up.
Swamiji, does one need to have Upanayanam done to read Rudram?
No. Upanayanam, okay, let's understand this. Upanayanam is also helpful in your focus in your life. Upanayanam, when you get Upanayanam, you also get the father gives the Brahma mantra to the child. That also is very funny because traditionally the father means what he gives Gayatri mantra.
Right.
And the father should be qualified to do that, no? How many fathers today are in a state where they're qualified to do that? Qualification means they should have done minimum what is called one upascharanam. Gayatri mantra has 24 syllables. Om Bhurбhuva Swaha is not part of the Gayatri mantra. Om Bhurбhuva Swaha Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Father should have chanted this 24 lakh times with understanding. Then he is qualified to give the mantra, Upadesha, Brahmopadesha to the son. And once he gets this Upanayanam, please attend some of the Upanayanam with look carefully. The child is ready to go to the Gurukulam. And his focus now is only on learning. Only on learning. He eats food by begging. Bhiksham Dehi. So in the Upanayanam function, you will see he will first go to his mother and ask for Bhiksha. Mother will give him Bhiksha. No more, mother will not give him food anymore. And all the other ladies present will also give him Bhiksha. And, he carries a little stick with the potli on top. That is supposed to signify that he has no interest in worldly things. Now, all these are part of the adhikaritvam for knowledge. But just doing Upanayanam is not the thing. If you understand what you're doing by going through the process of Upanayanam and you're able to follow it, then the adhikaritvam increases. So to that extent, Upanayanam helps. Yeah, shall we continue the reading?
Yeah. Gananam, of all groups of devas, Tva, you, Ganapatim, their leader, Havamahe, we worship, Kavim, the visionary, Kavinam, of all visionaries, Uvamasravastamam, who has attained great fame through various similes. Cheshtarajam, the most exalted and who shines in the hearts of devotees. Brahmanam, of the knowers of Brahman. Brahmanaspate, O Lord of Vedas. Na, our.
Naha.
Okay, dot is there. Okay, Naha, our.
Shrinvan,
listening. Utibihi, with all protective means. Asida, please sit. Sadhanam, at the altar of our heart. Through praise, we worship you, the Lord of Vedas, the leader of all groups of devas, the visionary of all visionaries, all knowledge, the one who has great fame through various similes, the most exalted of the knowers of Brahman, and the one who shines in the hearts of devotees. Listening to our prayers of praise, please sit at the altar of our hearts with all protective means. Here, Lord Ganapati is looked upon as Parameshwara and not as a given Devata. It is so because he is addressed by the word Brahmanaspate, meaning.
Somebody like to talk a little bit about this sentence. Lord Ganapati is looked upon as Parameshwara and not as a given Devata. Would somebody like to explain a little bit of that for the benefit of those who are not very clear about this? Anybody?
Can I?
Sure.
So like uh,
He's
so
treated
we
as
have the
Parameshwara and not just as Ganapati.
Correct, correct. But let him
He's
clear.
elevated to the exalted position of Parameshwara.
Yeah. So we have to understand
yes.
what is Parmeshwara and what is Ganapati. That's what he's trying to explain. Please go ahead.
So, like a devata, like as we understand, like it has a limited form and it has certain powers and it has like a whole like story, like how it originated, what his role is. So, this is like one specific function of Ishvara, but we call as devata. But Parameshwara we call as the Jagat Karanam. So, when we talk about Parameshwara, that is the like the creator, sustainer, destroyer. Like all the powers are his powers. So in that form, we are like praying to Ganapati, not just I think the son of the Shiva who has certain powers only. So I think.
Is that clear to everybody? Is there anybody who's not very clear what the difference between Parmeshwara and a particular form of a Lord like Lord Ganapati?
Or Sagun Brahman, we can say, right? Swamiji, for
Saguna
Parameshwara.
Brahman, yeah. We pray to individual devatas with some form. Whether you pray to Lord Krishna, you pray to Lord Shiva, you pray to, like here we praying to Lord Shiva or Lord Ganapati. And all our prayers goes to Ishvara, goes to Parameshwara. And he in turn roots the phala through the same devata. Bhagavan says no in Bhagavad Gita also. Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha tasya radha. Any form, tanum bhaktaha. A bhakta can pray to any form, but the prayer comes to me. I give the results. Parameshwara is the formless Ishvara, as explained. But we have our own Ishta Devata. We have our own Grama Devata. We have our own Kula Devata. We also have our own presiding deities for specific functions. There are known temples in India where you go when your health is in bad shape and you want to go to one particular deity and ask that your health be to help improve your health. There's a specific deity for that, presiding deity for that function. If there's eye problem, you pray to Lord Aditya, the sun. Like that, individual. In fact, so much so that I know there is somewhere one Lord Ganapati has many functions. You know? One Ganapati is specific to visa, getting. If you don't get your visa, you can go to that Ganapati and he get your visa. He's become very important now because nobody is giving you visa easily. Like that, any function you can have a preceding deity with whom you can relate. Therefore, that deity has a form, and like I said, there are stories of that deity and so on. But really, Parameshwara, one Jagat Karanam Ishvara, formless Ishvara. I have said this many times earlier. For those who may not have heard this, people who don't understand call us polytheist. You know what a polytheist is? Theist is one, it means God. Theism. Polytheist means one who has many gods. Which is why some of these people attack you saying that we got too many gods. We don't like it. There can only be one God by God. That has to be my God. Because he is a monotheist. He says you're a polytheist, you don't understand. How can you have so many gods? That's not true. We have only one formless Parameshvara. And there's a word for that also, called henotheism. All these various gods we pray to are more like conduits for us. Agni is a conduit for any devata. That's why when you do yajna, Agni carries the message to whichever devata you want the message sent to. So they are all conduits. Ultimately, our prayer is only to Parameshvara. Going back to Bhagavad Gita, many times it looks like, Lord Krishna is talking. And there are people who argue, saying that Lord Krishna is an egoist. Sarva dharman parityajya mameva sharanam bhaja, he says. No, he is not talking as Mr. Krishna or Lord Krishna. He is now talking as Parameshvara. So here what Swami is saying, Lord Ganapati is looked upon as Parameshvara and not as a particular devata. So when you understand that, whatever devata you pray to, you're actually praying only to Parameshvara. He is the giver of all the results. So because he says it is so because it's addressed by the word Brahmanaspate. Sorry. Yes, Divyansh?
Swamiji, so are we praying to Ganpati here first because like he has that boon, right? He has to be prayed first before praying to any devta.
No, there are two things here, Divyansh. Will somebody like to answer this question? Doubt is, are we here, Swamiji is saying he will be praying to Parameshvara. But we also have a tradition that before we start anything, we first pray to Lord Ganesha. Correct? So his question is, which of the two is applicable here? Is that right, Divansh?
Yes.
Would somebody like to address his doubt?
Swamiji, I would say both are applicable because one, if we look at Lord Ganesha as Parameshwara, then there is no difference. It is Ganapati or Murugan or Ayyappan or Krishna or whatever Bhagavan, there is no difference. If we see, ultimately it is Parameshwara. But as a tradition, or we specifically attribute the quality of remover of obstacles
Right.
before beginning of any pursuit, we attribute this quality to Ganapati. Therefore, we pray to Lord Ganesha so that there is no obstacles in our way in this pursuit also.
As Vigna Raja, Vigna, all Vignas, to remove all the Vignas.
Therefore, both. Yeah, shall we continue?
Yeah. Here, Lord Ganapati is looked upon as Parameshwara and not as a given devata. It is so because he is addressed by the word
Sorry,
Brahman.
I'm going to interrupt again for a minute. Please, my request to everybody, if there is a single word or a sentence or something which is not connecting in your mind with what we read previously, please stop and ask. Sometimes in today's this thing, we spend bulk of our time trying to clear up doubts for Divyansh. It's very good because it'll clear up everybody's doubts. So if you have a single word that is not clear, a phrase that is not clear, a sentence that is not clear, a sentence you don't able to connect with something else we read, please stop and ask. Yes, sir, please continue.
Because he is addressed by the word Brahmanaspate, meaning, O Lord of Brahma, the Veda Shastra. The word Brahma here means the body of knowledge known as Veda. Pati means the Lord. Brahmanaspate, O Lord of the Veda, Parameshwara. The subject matter of the Vedas, like the Devatas, rituals, heaven, and so on, is not within the range of human perception and inference. It has to be revealed by the source of all knowledge, the Lord. The what is this? Rishis. The rishis are the recipients of this sacred knowledge. We can also
there is a word here which we've gone through it very quickly. Pati means the Lord. Now, if you read the Rudram, you will find this word occurring again and again and again.
Pati.
So, Gananam Pati means the Lord of all the Ganas. Ganas mean groups. So here in the Rudram, tell me something where Pati occurs. Many places you will say Pataye Namaha, you know. What is it? It's not thief, Pataye Namaha. Putranam tata vine kshetranam pataye namo namo. Everything, Lord, including the Lord of all the thieves. Everything is Ishvara. So the Pati is referring to Ishvara, the Lord of everything.
Lord.
So you will see this as we read the text, even as we do the chanting, you will see this Pataye Namaha many times.
Okay. Yeah, we can also interpret the word Brahma as Hiranyagarbha, the creator of Brahma. So Ganapati here is Parameshwara.
Again, is everybody clear on this? Sometimes it's confusing.
Namo Taskaranam Padaye Namaha. Namo Taskaranam Padaye Namaha.
Taskaranam Pataye Namaha. Correct. Taskara means thieves. Taskaranam Pataye Namaha. No, but here, Swamiji says, can interpret the word Brahma as Hiranyagarbha. The creator of Brahma. Is that clear to everybody? Is there anything that's not clear on that? We will take that up and talk about it. Yeah, Kavya, go ahead.
It's not clear to me because also this word has always in my mind, whenever I hear this word Hiranyagarbha, because I get like a lot of mysticism attached to this word. I think it's on my own because of studying yoga.
We will take this up, and I'd like please people who understand it to explain this. But I will start the discussion by saying, when we talk about Brahman, is different from Brahmaji. Brahmaji is also called Prathamaja, the firstborn. In every kalpa, when the whole Jagat is remanifest, a new Brahmaji appears. That Brahmaji's reign is over. Where does it appear from? The collective Sukshma, all of the Sukshma, called Hiranyagarbha. The whole world comes from that subtle form. Subtlest form is Brahman. From there comes the subtle form called Hiranyagarbha. And the Jagat is born, the physical Jagat is born with the birth of the firstborn, Prathamaja, called Brahma. So here therefore he says, if he is creator of Brahma, means he is Hiranyagarbha, which is really no different from the creator, Ishvara. Because from there only everything follows. But we will talk more about this because you have to understand this clearly. What is the sequence of operations? Not operations, sequence of events that take place. Today we see the whole Jagat, the entire cosmos, so many galaxies, so many planets, so many stars, so many things and then within that there are so many, like our solar system, there are so many of them. Within the solar system, there are so many planets and others. Within that is the Earth. And within Earth is so many things. And all of them have both Sukshma and Sthula component. Sthula means gross component, physically tangible component, and intangible components called Sukshma components. Your own Sharira here has both. Has the physical Sharira and also has what is called Sukshma Sharira, Sukshma components, things which are intangible. The Pancha Prana, Prana, Apana, Vyana, Udana, Samana, all the functions. The 5 Jnanendriyas, the 5 Karmendriyas, and the processor, Manas and Buddhi, Ahankara. Ahankara, loose translation in English is ego. The idea of ego was mooted, I think, about 300 years ago by Western thinkers. But Ahankara has been written about several tens of thousands of years ago in our scriptures. So, this entire Jagat has both these components, starting with Hiranyagarbha, from their Brahmaji, and then all the other things that followed. So here he is saying Brahma as Hiranyagarbha, as the first one who created the first live thing called Brahma, and then everything else. Yes, Dhanam.
Brahma and Brahman are different, Swamiji.
Yes. Brahman is the idea of you. In fact, Brahman is everything. There is nothing other than Brahman. We will understand that more as we see that. Brahma here is Brahmaji.
Okay.
Often referred as Brahmaji, the firstborn. That's why I said Prathamaja, firstborn.
Okay.
In that kalpa.
Okay.
Divyansh, you can ask what you have with quick. We will finish it. Otherwise, we'll put it off to the next class.
Just Swamiji, one clarification. So I thought that Hiranyagarbha is Brahmaji.
No.
No?
When we start doing Mandukya Upanishad, you will understand this. But Hiranyagarbha is the Sukshma form of that. And then all the Sthula forms come later. From Brahmaji downwards. We can discuss this offline. But when we finish all this and we go to Mandukya Upanishad, all this comes up in great detail. Okay, I think we will wind up today. I don't want to extend the class. Kavya, keep that question. If you want to send it in the group, you can send it in the group. We will take it up before we start the class next time. Once again, my request to all of you, please keep your video on as it is. This is the second best. We should be sitting in a class. So at least we can see each other. And 2, please participate. There is no doubt or question which will be considered irrelevant or silly or anything like that. Anything that comes to your mind, please raise it. Any discussion that takes place, if a thought comes to your mind, please raise it. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya
Purnamādāya Purnamevāvashishyate. Om Shanti
Shanti,
Shanti
Shanti,
Shanti.
Hari Om.
Shri
Shri
Guru
Guru
Hari
Hari
Om.
Om.
I was hoping today I will
Om
not
Swami.
talk